Welcome in, Ask Dubey. So unfortunately, Devan Dubnyk was not available to answer your questions this week, so we decided to put together some of our favorite questions from the past year or so. But before we get into that, Ask Dubey is a presentation of Bet365. The worst thing about hockey season is that at some point, every year, it ends. There's a lot of time between now and the first puck drop of next season, which feels like an eternity for those of us used to nightly games. The good news is that Bet365 still has plenty of games, just none that require lacing up your skates. At Bet365 Casino, you can choose between hundreds of slots, live tables, and your favorite games. Well, maybe your second favorite game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly.
All right, well, let's get into the questions. First question is from Josh Fensky, and he asks, what is my favorite save as an Oiler? That's a good question. I'm going to go with two different saves. One was against the Calgary Flames at home in Edmonton on Ole Jokinen. It was in the first period. I bit hard early on a shot. It was down close to the front of the net, and I dropped to my knees, and they zipped the pass back to Jokinen, and he grabbed it, and I was able to recover and just get a foot down, and I dove head first across the net, and I snagged it with my glove. Right out of the middle of the net, midair, almost across the goal line with the netting of my glove. And that was just a special one, being against the Flames. I grew up in Calgary, obviously. I think that was my first year. It might have been my second season. But it was it's still fresh, still kind of felt like a rookie. I think it was technically my rookie season. And it was kind of the first like crazy save that I'd made in the NHL like that. And it was against Calgary and Edmonton. I had buddies and family there as well. So, I was pretty excited, and that was early in the game. So it was 0-0 still, but fortunately I didn't play that well for the rest of the game. I didn't let it, juice me up that much. I think we lost 4-3. Gosh, it's the curse of a goalie. I can probably run you through every goal that I let in that game, but I don't want to bore you guys. And my next favorite save, this one I remember, I believe it was against, is it Chris Higgins in Vancouver? I think that was his first name, Chris. So this was the last game of the year. Gosh, it must have been the 2011-12 season. And we were obviously out of the playoffs. We were playing in Vancouver, and before the game, Vancouver was competing for the President's Trophy, best team in the league. And there's a nice little bonus that comes along with that, nice little paycheck. So teams want to win it. I know there's a President's Cup, President's Trophy curse, but it's a nice little bonus when you get it. So we were watching, and if the Rangers won earlier in the day, then Vancouver had to win in order to get the President's Trophy. And if the Rangers lost, then Vancouver secured the President's Trophy. So I was hoping I had to play this game. Obviously, we were out of the playoffs for a long time, so guys are just wanting to get this game over and get going into summer. And we knew that they were going to obviously dress a much different lineup. Depending on if they were trying to win the game, they were going to dress their full lineup. And Vancouver was very, very good at this time. This would have been possibly their finals year. But they dressed not as good of a lineup, and we have an easier game. Well, unfortunately, the Rangers won. We dressed the lineup. They were out shooting us 17-3 by like the 5-minute mark of the first period. And I remember going to the bench and Habby Boulin looking at me and saying, "Are you okay?" And he told me after the game it was the first time he'd ever thought that he might have to play in the game, just strictly due to shot volume, in the waves that they were coming. So. It was a good game for me. I was playing really well, but in the first period at one point, similar type situation as the other one, me biting early on a play, on a shot fake, and then it gets passed across. This time it was on the other side, so I was on my glove side, and I went down on the initial play, and he passed it across kind of to the slot, and I dove across the other way with the paddle of my stick. And I actually stopped it out of the air, out of the middle of my net. He had it right between the hash marks and ripped it mid-net, and I got it right in the middle of the paddle. And that was the first time in the NHL I'd made a save like that, and they did the score on it. So that was pretty exciting for me. There's actually a really cool poster that they made, team posters the next year that season ticket holders got. And I don't know if it was on purpose, but it was actually on the poster had that save, and you don't really notice at first, but when you zoom in, the puck is actually hitting my paddle at the time, and the whole paddle of my stick is like curved. That's how hard he shot it. It actually bent the paddle of my stick when I hit it. So that's a cool little reminder every time I see that poster. I think I still have one in storage somewhere, but that was a good game. We ended up losing 3-0. But I think I finished with 40-some, high 40s in the save department, and that was a contract year for me as well. So it was a good positive, even though it was a 3-0 loss. We were never really competitive in the game, so it was a positive finish going into contract negotiations after that one. So those were a couple of my favorite saves as an Oiler. All right, next question from Alex. I'm going to say Zed. I've been living in the States for a while, so I've been forcing myself to say Z, which is weird. It's still weird for me to say Z, so don't worry. I'm still saying Zed. From Alex Zed. Did you ever study shooters on the opposing team, or did you trust your instincts? That is a great question, and it's a combination of both. When you study, you absolutely study shooters. So what the important thing is, it's knowing tendencies, which can be different things. How they shoot. Do they like to shoot lots? Like, do they shoot from bad angles? Do they shoot all the time? Do they not shoot all the time? Are they looking to pass more? All these things. And then in certain situations, do some guys have tricky shots that they like to try to catch you off guard? And I'll give you a few examples. And this was kind of every team. You go through the lineup and you try to find guys' tendencies. And when I say that, though, it's tendencies to prepare for something that's maybe a little out of the ordinary that guys are good at, so you can be ready for it, but you still have to be reactionary and you still have to play. You're never guessing where a guy's going to shoot. You're prepared, knowing that that's something he likes to do, so you might have an advantage and a step up when they do that. If they're doing something that they do more often, that's all it is. You still have to react to the shot. These guys are the best players in the world. They're not going to do the same thing every single time. So it's finding tendencies to be prepared for, but you still have to react to it. So I'll give you guys some good examples. I'll start in Edmonton, for example. Connor McDavid. He's changed a lot, obviously, since I've played. I think he shoots a little bit more now, but he's a pass guy. And when he's going 100 miles an hour, and he'll make passes in situations that are crazy. I mean, I look at the playoffs. If it was McDavid, you have to be aware that he wants to pass. Now, the reason he's great also is he will shoot it past you, but he'll pass in situations that other guys just won't pass in. So that's something that you have to be prepared for. A Draisaitl, everybody knows he loves his backdoor. He loves his office. So in that one, couple things on that play is, one, you have to know he's there. So you have to be prepared to get there. And then two, you have to know where he likes to put it, and he is able to put it up short side high. It doesn't always go high, but an important part of that play to be able to stop it is knowing he's there and being ready to make the push and getting the proper rotation, getting your post, because you'll see, even if you know he's there, if you're late on the push and you come across flat, that short side is going to be open and he can beat guys just past them on the short side. It doesn't necessarily need to go under the bar. And then if you do get a push over there, sometimes he just still beats guys anyway. So you need to understand that if you did get a good turn and a good push over there, you got to be ready to try to cover up under the bar there. There's an example of Leon, Patrick Kane, always a dangerous guy. Didn't seem like a hard shot, although it was harder than it seemed. But he was a placement guy. He would beat you with accuracy. And same kind of thing. He'd shoot up high, sharper angles, and he'd just catch you. He was kind of a guy that you just had to watch, because in times when it didn't necessarily feel like he was in a dangerous area, maybe a little bit further away from the net, not far away, but he could catch you with his accuracy. And he'd throw it on net and know exactly where it was going. So you just always had to be ready for him to throw something sneaky at you that was almost always going to be in a difficult spot. So you kind of had to be on your toes a little bit with him. Sidney Crosby, another one. This is a guy that I've talked about he's one guy, when I played, I obviously played a lot of games. I felt like I was in control and I was ahead of the game and I kind of knew what the guys were going to do. It didn't mean they couldn't beat me with the play, but I felt comfortable out there and felt like I knew what was going on. And Sid he's a guy, and I didn't play him a lot, just he makes you feel uncomfortable. He makes you feel the opposite way. Like, he's ahead of you. He's thinking ahead of you, and he's looking at you, and he's trying to get you to cheat. And he's obviously one of the best players ever, and his IQ is through the roof. So it almost sometimes felt like he was toying with you, and it was an uncomfortable feeling because that wasn't the case with very many players, very, very little players. Even the best of the best guys, it wasn't that same feeling that I had with Sid, where it felt like he was like I was being hunted out there by Sid, and he was just watching me and waiting for me to like bend my knee the wrong way so he could zip it past me on the short side. And he would a lot. Like he'd be coming in and he's so quick with his hands, he'd be sticking and he just one little lean, one little turn on the post, and he's looking at you, he's waiting for it, and he'll try to just catch you on the ice, bad angle shots, anything around the net, get you looking the wrong way as he's going around the net. I mean, he was so good around the net, and he could get it off short stick with it, not much curve. He could get it off, and he could zip the puck good and accurate too. So he was a scary one. And then when it comes to big shots from the point, it's a different thing. But playing against Shea Weber, Sheldon Surrey back in the day, he probably had the hardest shot that I'd ever seen in my life. It's similar, but I played more against Shea Weber. And it was unique. They're kind of the only guys I look at that could beat you clean from the point. And when I say that, I don't mean that they could actually beat you clean if you were just standing there and ready for it and prepared for the speed. But the thing is their shot was so much harder. And you get this with Bush a little bit. He's got a cannon too. But Surrey was up in the 106, 107 mile an hour range. And I know Weber was in that 104 range too. And what happens is you're so used to trajectories of the puck when you see them on one-timers from the point, in that high 90s, 98, you see it coming. If it's mid-glove, mid-blocker, high, whatever, you see it coming and you kind of know the timing you have to get your hands to where it needs to go. And then all of a sudden it's an extra 5 or 6 miles an hour and you see it coming. It's not like it blows by and you can't see it, but it just arrives quicker. So if you're at the same speed of putting my blocker to where it needs to go, I have to understand that when I see that come off the stick, I need to get there quicker and be prepared for that, know who's shooting the puck. Because if you're just at that same thing as a lot of D-men with hard shots in that mid-90s range, and you just start to go at that pace to get your hands there, it arrives quicker and it'll be past you if you're not careful. So that those big point shots, Bouchard now, Shea Weber, Sheldon Surrey, kind of going through the years here, you got to be prepared for that velocity coming in from the point. So small sample size, you pretty much go through this a little bit with every single team. You look at their top end guys and their top scorers and their sneaky guys and different things they like to do. And I could talk about this forever, but we don't have enough time. So there's your answer. What were the vibes like in the city around? Obviously you guys are kind of separate from that, but it's impossible not to feel when you're in Edmonton on these last couple runs compared to that 06 one. Because I think these last couple runs are a little bit more, I don't know if you can expect a cup run, but those teams were expected to win and they were expected to do well in the playoffs. And your guys was a little more Cinderella story, and which can obviously be a little more fun too.
Yeah. I think, with Connor and Leon and the teams that they had, they've had some playoff success and some playoff runs, not getting that far. So it was, to your point, I think it was expected. And this one, they hadn't been in the playoffs in a long time. I think they'd only won the one that Todd Marchand scored that overtime goal against Dallas. And so it'd been a little bit, obviously, since they had gone to the playoffs and played on that stage. And so, the fact that we were able to, get in late, I think that really brought our team together. And then, playing Detroit, powerhouse, all the rest of that. But coming back to Edmonton and just the vibe in the city, the energy, with each series, you could feel the temperature rise in the marketplace and just the buzz in the city. White Ave kind of getting after it. And, I had obviously my brother and some buddies coming in for a lot of the games. And it was, they said it was a lot of fun. I didn't quite make it out there, but they said it was a lot of fun. And, everybody just took hold and really kind of came along for the ride, which is really cool that they could, I still have people all the time come up to me, man, it was so much fun. It was such a blast. And, unfortunately, we didn't finish it in the right manner. But to compare it to, I was fortunate enough to go up to Game 5 last year in Edmonton and kind of just feel the buzz in the building and just how electric it was. And they probably didn't play their best game, but still the energy in the building and just how loud the building was. It's not quite like Rexall. Those new buildings, a little bit different, but still, I was, my daughter and son were there, and they were shocked with how loud it was, and just you could just feel and sense something was about to burst. Had the Oilers won that game, and that building would have been off the hook.
Oh yeah, it's a special play. Okay, next question is from Hudson 1755. What is the most heated moment you've had in practice? Great question. I know where this one comes from. All the rumors this week of Jarry frustrations in practice and all that. Again, we spoke a little bit about that on Oilers Nation every day yesterday, and I don't know for sure unless there's something confirmed. I would say it's a little bit blown out of proportion. People have to understand that it's a long season, lot of practice, a lot of ice time. He's obviously frustrated with the way things have gone. Could be grumpy that day, maybe didn't sleep the other night. These are all things, guys see each other every day. And you can get frustrated in practice. Like I said, maybe it was more than that. I doubt it. But I see where this question is coming from, and I know that things can get heated in practice. I've got plenty of times, plenty of back and forth with guys. Again, they're like your brothers. You're playing with them every day. You're gonna get frustrated, especially as goalies. If you're in a bad mood and some pucks start coming a little close, little hard, little high, and you're just not in the mood that day, it can tip you off pretty fast. And a couple that I can think of, one's a more funny one with Mikko Koivu in Minnesota. It was a good buddy of mine. We got along great, but Mikko is his engine runs hot, and I caught him on a bad day, and I wasn't having a great practice, and he rang one off the knob of my stick, and he kind of said something joking about it hitting the knob or like nice save or something. And I chirped myself about, I think I said something like, yeah, it's about the only one I can make today or something. And he thought I was chirping back at him about his shot being too high. And once his wires crossed, there's no talking him down. And so for the rest of practice, he came in and he took full slap shots, like 3 feet over the net off the glass. And he wasn't coming anywhere near my head. He wasn't trying to hit me in the head. He was just Mikko trying to send a message. And I didn't even bother trying to hash it out with him on the ice. I just waited until practice was over and then went and explained the situation. So that was one, but my favorite moment was actually in Edmonton. I can run hot too. If you have seen some of my clips, I was a little bit of an idiot on the ice. I've calmed down in my old age, but I could run hot, and it was practice. I'm sure everybody remembers Linas Omark, not Omark, the Swedish sensation who had this really cool spinorama move in the shootout that was useless. But anyway, me and Linas butt heads a lot, and certain parts of his game I didn't have a ton of respect for and didn't like the way he practiced. Anyway, start of practice, we got a 3-line shooting drill. It's a warm-up drill for the goalies. It's pretty straightforward. The guys come in, they skate different routes, shot. Linas comes in, first shot of practice, first shot of the drill. He gives me a fake slap shot, dusts it off, and skates around me and shoots the puck in the net. So I'm obviously not happy. It's the start of practice. He already gets on my nerves to begin with. So I pull the puck out of the net and I rifle it at him in the corner, and I get him up high. And so as the drill, that pisses him off. And as the drill's going on, he starts shooting pucks for me at the back of my legs from the corner while I'm doing the rest of the drill. Well, now I'm seeing red. So the next drill we have is a pass out from the corner, pass to the blue line to the point. The forward skates to get in front of the net to screen the point shot. And so we're in between drills, and I looked at him in the corner, and I pointed at the top of the crease. I said, "You come stand right here, buddy, and see what happens." I'm like, "I cannot wait till you get here." And being Linas in the way that he was probably smart, actually, and wanted to be nowhere near the top of the crease. So his turn comes, he passes out to the point, and he skates wide out to like between the hash marks and the top of the circle. So he's nowhere near me. Well, I wasn't going to let this opportunity fly. I take about 3 strides out and baseball swing him in the back of the legs, just chop him down like a tree. And he yard sails onto his back and is grabbing his leg. And Tom Rennie was the coach at the time. And he didn't even know what to do. He was confused. He looked at me and was like, "What are you doing?" And kind of was looking around. But it was just, things like this kind of happen sometimes in practice. Not like that, but it just kind of got let go. Practice went on. He fired a few at my head. We get to the shootout after practice. So I was a backup goalie. We're doing lots of breakaways after. So it's late after all the drills are done. We're just messing around, taking breakaways. And so Linas comes in, does his sweet little spinorama. He comes in on me, dusts it off. He puts his head down. As soon as he puts his head down, I take a stride out and he lifts his head up and I pretend like I'm going to spear him in the chest. And so he throws his arms up because he thinks I'm actually going to do it. And he falls down in the corner and everybody on the ice is laughing. They think it's hilarious. Well, he's not happy with me right now. This is all built up over practice. So he goes into the corner. The story's getting long, but it's a good one. He goes into the corner and he takes a puck and he stands there with a stick cocked back and a slap shot, like he's waiting for me to turn around so he could take a slap shot at my back. Well, I'm not going to turn around and let him shoot at my back. So I stood there facing him for a while and he stood there in the corner and everybody was waiting to take shootout shots and we stood there for 5 or 10 seconds. And so finally I put my gloves on the top of the net and I was like, all right, if you want to go, let's go. Let's get this over with or you leave the ice. It's your choice. We can either fight now or you get off the ice. And he didn't respond. He just stayed there in the corner. And I was like, let's go. Let's get this over with, or you leave and we continue the shootout. And he stayed there. And then finally some of the veteran guys came over to him and were like, Linas, beat it. And so he left the ice and never ended up squaring off. But that was the closest I'd been to a goalie fight in the NHL. So teammates still, we got over it and got along, but that was definitely one of my best stories for a heated moment in practice. This segment brought to you by our friends at Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Only the finest tasting meat products earn the Wilhauk name. Made from 100% pure Alberta beef, Wilhauk Beef Jerky is aged, seasoned, marinated, and smoked to savory perfection. It is so good. Wilhauk Beef Jerky gladly fills orders of any size. Find their beef jerky, sausage, and other products exclusively out of their Leduc location, or you can order online. Get your jerky on. For more info, go to wilhaukbeefjerky.com.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.